You're live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 2045, RootsTech Day 2 recap. It has been a crazy day today. I have been running around like a chicken without my head on. I'm very discombobulated. It was very interesting. I was talking to a friend today and I said, I pulled my angel card for this morning and it was something about earth grounding. It's in the other room. I totally forgot to bring it in here so I could keep it in front of me like I normally do. And it was something about earth grounding. And the very first sentence said something, you are very discombobulated. And I was like, yes, I am. But everything it said that this card meant, I was like, that is so me in every regard. I need to get grounded. I need to stop putting myself so thinly across things right now. And just in everyday stuff, I need to ground myself and I need to be more conscious of my time because I'm not going to bed till like 11. Well, last night was the first time I was in bed before 11 o'clock. Only 5 minutes before, but I was in bed before 11 and that was a major thing. And I'm up at 5. And Zeffie did not get me up at all during the middle of the night. I got myself up, but Zeffie didn't interrupt me. Usually she's 2, maybe 3 times a night lately. And last night, nothing. So I was very proud of her. But yes, and then the rest of today has just been absolutely crazy. I've managed to squeeze in a couple of, one full video from the from RootsTech Day 2, and I'm halfway through one on the Mayflower, which is really cool. It's just a short 16-minute video, and I'm halfway through it. I'm working on getting through my videos. But the one that I saw today was actually a presentation that was done by one of the instructors that I've had at IGHR. In fact, it was the very first one that I had. And I don't have my duck. Where did I put my duck may still be in my box that I haven't got to yet. But the instructor that I had, Rebecca, she sent us all this little care package for the week that we were with her. And she does the very first course that you should do when you go to IGHR. And she's a really cool lady, great sense of humor. I mean, most of the genealogists I've met have great sense of humor. And she sent us this duck. And the story with the duck was, I'm going to see if I can remember the story, was that it was something to talk to because there was a guy who was a programmer. And I got to try and remember how the story goes. There's a guy who was a programmer who was trying to work on a problem. And so he started talking to this rubber duck. And this is the whole thing, is that when you're working on a problem, you start telling the rubber duck about the problem and the solution presents itself. And it blocks the blockage in the brain and stuff so you can be more creative and things. It's just talking to a rubber duck. So we all had a rubber duck sitting on our desks there for the week. It was absolutely brilliant. But love her presentations. And over the last 2 times that I've been there, she's come in as a guest speaker on the courses that I've been in. And she's very, very knowledgeable, absolutely amazing person to listen to. But she did a presentation called Becoming Betsy. And Betsy was this ancestor of hers that she couldn't find any information on. All she had was this person's name. And so, because it's a woman. Now, women, make up half the population. Like it or not, we do. When it comes to a pedigree chart. And a pedigree chart is it's usually horizontal, and it's got you, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grand, depending how long it is. And then you can start taking these ones on the last row and putting them into the first slot. But the pedigree chart is men at the top, woman the next one down. Men, woman, and that's the way it just goes. But women make up half of that pedigree chart. Think about that. And so a lot of times, there should be documentation on them. Like I've come to a brick wall right now. I'm working on a very common last name that's in my tree and is also in this other tree that I'm trying to find the DNA connections to. And all we have is the first name of the woman. We have no idea what their last name is. So when we even go and look at the marriage records that took place and we know that the husband was born in this particular area. In this specific area, he's showing up on census reports in this area. So maybe we can find his wife. Maybe he got married in the area as well. So, but her name is a very common name as well. Hers is Anne. Do you know how many Annes there are when it comes to Anne, Mary, Elizabeth, Rebecca? What's the other one? Anne, Mary, Elizabeth, Rebecca, Sarah. Sarah with an H, Sarah without the H, Anne with an E, Anne without an E. They're all in there. Very, very common names. And so I was looking up all the ones. I found one that had a marriage in the right time frame, because I looked when was their first child born, and sort of thought, okay, maybe the year before. I don't know. We're playing a guess. And this is some of the struggle that Rebecca was talking about too. I'm like, I am working on this right now. As I'm watching this video, I'm sort of like, I am working on this right now, but I'm becoming Anne. And there was one marriage record for the guy, a guy with the same name as the husband, and we had the Anne, and she had a last name there. They were in exactly the right town, right time, right time period, and everything else. Could it be her? We don't know. And so this was some of the problems that she had, and you've got to take into account like different times when women were put on records, when they weren't put on records, what records were they put on, what were they allowed to be on, and things like that. It was just fascinating discovering, some of the struggles that women have had over the year that have been going on for centuries. That we have been having struggles for centuries, and things like can the husband put his wife's name on the will? No. To check for births, deaths, and marriages, you had to look at parish records before they were officially recorded at the county levels or the town levels or the state levels, or wherever wherever in the world. Census records. Some women, widows or unmarried, can be identified by their name from 1790 through to 1840. And it says from 1850 to 1870, women and girls were listed as part of the household without a relationship. And after 1880, the relationships to the head of the household identified the woman. And often mother-in-laws and other relatives were listed as boarders. I have seen that. But, oral histories was another thing. It was like looking at letters, diaries, and family Bibles that I mentioned there, cemeteries and funeral homes. She was going through the whole gamut of the type of records, whether or not women were listed on there. Could they be legally listed on there? It was a challenge. And I'm just like thinking, how the hell have I ever been able to find a female record? And I totally forget which part it was, but there was some record that she's been looking for like ages, and she finally discovered it. And she's telling us this, she's taking us on this journey of all this research that she's been doing over the years, the different records she's been looking at, the different places, and finding other household members, but not finding Betsy. And it was just a fascinating story, just winding its way through time as she's looking for this. And then she says, and then I came across this record. And she said, I was so thrilled because it answered da-da-da-da-da. And she says, and I discovered it this morning. She says, persistence pays off. When you're a genealogist, you have to be persistent. You can't just say, oh, I give up. No, we go to this book here, which is our guidebook on what we can and cannot do. And in here, it says that we will exhaust every single possible record that we have available to us before we give up looking for anybody. Yeah, think about that. There's a lot of records out there. Some of them are physical, some of them are digital, but this is our guidebook, and it states in here that we will exhaust all possible resources that are available to us in order to search for this missing ancestor. So I never give up looking. I might put it on the back burner for a little bit, but yeah. And then there were also and so she ended up finding one. She could find plenty of documents for everybody else in the household except Betsy. She ended up finding this one document that actually had Betsy's name on there. And it was her son's military record, and she was listed on there as the next of kin. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, she spent years researching this and finding Betsy, and she's got these different charts that she's made up with any information that she could find that could lead to this is possibly where Betsy is. And I'm like just sitting there going, I'm doing this with Anne right now. Like I am looking up all these different possible Annes that could be married to this William, which is another common name, William and Anne, very common combination. And I'm looking in the early 1800s, very common combination of a William and an Anne. And then the last name is, it may as well be Smith right now for the husband. That's how common his last name is. It's actually Adams. I'm looking for William Adams and his wife Anne. All I know is that her name is Anne. I've got no idea what her maiden name is. I have no idea I've got no record of who her parents are. I'm just trying to find Anne. I can find her on the census reports, but the census reports, when I find her on there, she's already married to William. Can I find their birth? Can I find their marriage record? Well, after a lot of searching, I thought, okay, let's look at this logically. She's on the census records in this particular town in Essex. So what's the possibility? And she's listed on the census, and here are her children listed. This child is 10 years old, which means on the 1851 census, which means that child was probably born around 1841, 1840, depending on when they had their birthday. And so, okay, so let's go look at the marriage records that were from Essex, marriage records from Essex, from 1837 through to 1841. And let's have a look in this particular area of Essex. There is one entry for that town that has a William and an Anne for that town. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And then in my research, I came across this family tree, which had the same William, had an Anne but it was an Elizabeth Anne, whatever. It's all in my notes. And then it had the same children listed. And I'm like, well, how do they know that that's her full name? And so I went and had a look at their tree. There's no sources listed on their tree. Zero. And I'm like, well, then how do they know that that particular person is the right one? And, and I couldn't even find a marriage record for these people, for this Elizabeth person, because it was listed as Elizabeth Ann, whatever the surname was. I just saw the Elizabeth Ann and I was like, well, how do they know that's the right person? No details. No. This is why it is so important to put your sources in there. When you're researching stuff, you go add your sources in there because it helps people find, because I want to know, how did they get that name? Because this is back in 1840. So how did they get that person's name? That's almost 200 years ago. Where'd that name come from? Did it come from a family Bible? You've got to put your sources in there. And so I'm making up this chart with all these different Anns that I'm finding in that area at that time and where I'm finding them and everything else, keeping my research logs going. This is one other thing that she was talking about, keeping your research logs. I'm doing it. Yes, I remember you talking about research logs back in 2021. Yeah, in 2021. I think it was 21. Yeah, in July of 2021 is when I heard her, was when I was in her class. And I thought, I remember that research log. I remember that one of my mother-in-law's ancestors, we used him because I had two possible death dates for this person. I had the birth date was the same, but there was two different death dates in the same city with the person with exactly the same first name, middle name, and last name. And was this the person who was married to this other ancestor? And he ended up divorcing her. And I'm like, okay, how do I? And so we actually ended up using that as an example in class. So I remember that because they were using one of the people that I was looking for. And of course, they said, bring along a mystery person that you're trying to find information on. So I did. And I picked this guy. And he's the key. He is the key. And here's why he is the key. I have to find the right one, because I have everything from his father back to the American Revolution. I have everything from him back to where it branches off to go towards the Mayflower, which according to the relative finder, my mother-in-law is like the 9th great-granddaughter of Richard Warren from the Mayflower. And we'll be talking about the Mayflower in a minute. So there's a place where it branches, where this part goes off to the American Revolution and this one goes off to the Mayflower. This guy in the middle here is the key. And the reason that he's the key is because I have to find the right one to go in there, because if I find the wrong one, then any information is going. So I've got all the information up to him and all the information from him onwards. I just have to find the right one to put in that little square in the middle there to make sure that everything flows properly. Because if any of my boys or their kids or my nieces and nephews decide to go and apply for Daughters of the American Revolution, Sons of the American Revolution, or Mayflower descendants to go into those lineage societies, if I have one detail wrong, it could blow their whole thing apart. So I need to make sure that I have the right one in there. And we're still researching, but she got me set up on this chart, and I'm just plugging the information in now. So I am still using those research charts. And when I come into a situation like this where I have an Anne and I've got to find the right Anne, I'm using that same chart. I just copied that chart that we originally set up, and removing all the other information that was there from the other person and duplicated it. So I've still got the original person and putting in all the information I'm finding on an Anne. But so far I have found one marriage that took place in the town where the groom was born, around the right time, in the church where his parents were married. So would this be the right Anne? Quite possibly, but I need more information, because all I've got right now is theories floating around this person. So hearing her talking about finding Betsy was really cool, since I am right in the middle of doing all of this with this particular. And so I've got to look at the time period and where I can go and find records and everything else like that would have her maiden name on there, maybe, possibly, because then I would know. But yeah, she even had a PDF handout for a PDF handout, which you can get offline because you've got a place to download. They can attach the PDFs to the videos, and you can download the PDFs, and you've got notes that you can. This is all the notes from her thing. So that was really fascinating, because knowing the fact that I'm doing it, I've actually been actively working on it in the last 2 days, including my little time I had today. Then the other video I got to watch, that I'm in the process of watching, I'm still in the process of watching it, is Navigating Mayflower Family's Silver Book. What is the Silver Book? The Silver Book, I think, is like 44 volumes now. But the Silver Book was, well, first of all, the General Society of Mayflower Descendants was founded in 1897. They publish Mayflower Families, which are these silver books. The idea started in 1899 of creating these books, and it was a project was officially launched in 1959, and they published the first book in 1975. And the most recent published book was 2024, was last year. But they know that there are 26 families known to have living descendants from those that came over on the Mayflower. There are 26 families known to have living descendants, and 25 of them have a silver book. So what is the silver book? That is a really good question, because I've heard all sorts of stories about these silver books, and I was watching Genealogy Roadshow one day, and Josh, can't think of his last name, but and he's been an instructor at IGHR as well, which is totally awesome. Never been in any of his classes though. But I've seen lots of his different videos that he does and all that sort of thing. But I loved watching him on Genealogy Roadshow. He got super excited because he had this woman in front of her who had a rumor in her family that they were related to the Mayflower, to a passenger off the Mayflower. She wasn't sure who it was. So she wanted to find out, is that true? So they retraced her genealogy and everything else and found out that she wasn't related to one family from the Mayflower. She was related to 2 families off the Mayflower. And we've got to celebrate. We have to celebrate. So Josh was super, super excited to share this. And he got to hand her the silver book, which had her family in there. And he explained that what the silver book was at minimum documents 5 generations from the passengers. So each passenger has their own book, and it documents the 5 generations from this book. And I'm thinking, 5 generations is a lot of people. And these books are used by genealogists for research. They're used by family descendants, and they're also used by the verifiers and the lineage team who one of the reasons these books were created was so that what you have to do when you're proving your lineage is you have to show where within these silver books you plug in. So they've got the five generations. Some of them are a little go for deeper generations. But if you can prove that you plug in, that doesn't sound right. Like an electrical outlet. But if you can show where you, through your genealogy, where you match up with somebody on the tree that has already been proven, then that's all you have to do. You don't actually have to track back all the way to the passenger. You just need to track back to somebody that's in this book. And so genealogists can help people find their lineage. So the reason they created this lineage book was that they could then turn around and make it very easy, because here's the top here's the 5 generations. You don't have to find it. You just need to find everything up to this point, and then show us where you line up with the genealogy. So all they've got to do is prove how do they hook into the tree, which I thought, okay. So when I found out that a few minutes ago, I was sort of like, phew, I don't have to do all 9 generations, because my mother-in-law is the 9th great-granddaughter, so I don't have to do the 9 great-grandparents and then her grandparents and the 10 generations. Yeah. Looking at my cheat sheet up there, then it goes up to the 6. But yeah, so I don't have to do all of those other generations. I just have to go up to her. If they've got 5 generations in that book, then that would be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I only have to go up to the 4th great-grandparents, which is a lot less people to do. It's her parents, her grandparents, her great-grandparents, her 2nd great-grandparents, her 3rd great. So I've got to do 7 generations. That's not too bad. I can do that. Which means that records should be easier for me to find. And in fact, on her tree, I've gone back further than that on the American Revolution side. So like I said, this one person is the key in there, and I'm still working on him, and I pick him up, and I have all of these different people that I'm looking for, and every now and again I'll go pick them up and let's go see what other records we can find, because records are always coming online. So knowing what I have already researched, because I have my research logs, I know not to go to those areas. Oh, these records are new. Look at and I find a record. Oh, this is new. So I go look at my research log. Nope, I haven't done that one. Let's go have a look and see. So it's very interesting to see this. And I've got other ones. I've got some, they had a one. Oh, what was the name of that one? Hang on. I got to go to my back. Where is my schedule? My schedule for today. They have they have a story. They have a case study where the speaker did a case study using DNA to find Sarah's family. That's all I know. We're finding Sarah's ancestry through DNA. So that I wanted to have a look at. They also had guidelines for responsible use of artificial intelligence in genealogy. And so that's another one that I've got plugged in there that I want to go and have a look at as well. And they even talk about finding obituaries in newspapers. And you know me and newspapers. I love looking at the newspapers, seeing what was going on, finding the newspaper that has those articles. And what else was in this newspaper? Let's have a look at the front page. What were the headlines then? That's very, if you're looking at the newspapers and you're just looking up your ancestors' names and stuff to see what you can find on them, look at the ads that are in there. What are they selling gas for? What are they selling tires for? I mean, there was one time I was in the newspaper and it was $2 for 4 tires. And I was just sort of like, you got to be kidding me. $2 got you 4 tires on your car. But then you flip to the front page. What was the headlines that day? Could it have been an event that your ancestor was maybe involved in, that you might be able to find more information about that event and how it impacted your ancestor's life? See, it's pulling all those pieces of the puzzle in together and putting them together to create this amazing mosaic tapestry of life, of ancestry, and everything else. So I've got a whole stack of videos lined up. I've got my list of stuff I've got to get done this weekend. I'm going to be working on a plan tonight to actually time it out for when I have my best energy to do certain things, certain tasks. And it's going to be a fun weekend diving in. And we've got, day 3 tomorrow of RootsTech. How much of it will I get to see live? I don't know, because I haven't made the plan yet. But I've got access to these videos for a few days afterwards, so I can space the videos out and just go back and keep watching videos. But it was very interesting today just learning about Betsy, because it gave me some really good ideas on where to go and look for Anne. So that was extremely helpful. And then the stuff on the Mayflower was also interesting too, that I don't have to research back to her 9th great-grandfather. I just got to go 5 generations below him and plug in. That's it. So that's it from me for today. If you've been to RootsTech, let us know what interesting things that you've learned and watching. If you have a look in the description below, there is a link for you to go to RootsTech so you can sign. It's free to sign up for online. And you can watch some of the videos from today and yesterday, and then you can watch some of the videos for tomorrow. and learn something. Go learn something new. If you're researching genealogy, go learn a new go look up the different videos that are out there and that sort of stuff at RootsTech. And and I found out something interesting. If you click on the speaker for a particular event, it then takes you to their bio page, and it's got showing there all the presentations that they have done, not only at that RootsTech, but all the previous ones as well. So I'm sort of like, yes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going back, listening to some of the keynote speakers that were there these 3 days, and just absorbing and learning. Because somebody says, why are you going to RootsTech? How does that help in your business? I said, it is helping my business so much. I said, we've got AI coming in. AI is becoming the big thing right now. How do you use it in genealogy? How trustworthy can it be, and that sort of thing? What would you use it for with genealogy? So I need to learn about that. I want to increase my knowledge on DNA and how to create and how to find the matches, how to use DNA to find matches. I said, I learned new tools about Ancestry, that there were some new tools that have come out, and now I've learned more information about them and how they can help me in my, and when I'm researching for my clients, how those tools can now help me find information or find where I've duplicated myself and put in the same person in the tree 2 or 3 times. Or I've got somebody in there who has no documentation against them. That's another one. That's one of the pro tools. It's really cool. You get this list up, and then you can click on the name of the person, and it takes you up there, and you click on the button once you get into their profile, and on the side it comes up with a thing saying, we think that this person and this person need to be merged, that they're the same person, even though they're like a year apart or 2 years apart, and quite often it's their sibling. But they've got a name that the system picks up as, they've got Anne. Sometimes Anne was used short as Hannah. And then you've got to go in and have a look, and then you go, no, those are actually 2 separate people. So we'll just go do not merge. There's a do not merge button. Or if it is the same person, you can go ahead and say merge. But you've got to look at the full record and everything. It has all the records and everything else there. You can go off and do some other research and then come back to it. Was it 2 people? And I've gone off and looked at their separate profiles and had a look and go, no, they're siblings. Yeah, you guys ain't merging that lot. And then it also points out if you've got a person in your tree, even though they are connected to other people, but if they don't have documentation for that particular person, it flags it. And it's sort of like, oh, you can have them connected to another family tree, like you've got that information off another family tree, because there's a really cool way that if you're looking at somebody else's family tree, you can go, oh, I need to get that information into my tree, and there's a way that you can say save to my tree, and if you've got more than one tree, you use the drop-down menu to say which tree you want it to go to. Then you put in the name of the person, and it will transfer the information across. But it does not transfer across the sources. So, yeah, you got to go verify all the sources again. So it picks up the sources, especially in Ancestry, picks up the sources and files them against the person. So this tool flags those that don't have documentation, even if they had documentation in the original family tree that you pulled the information from. So yeah, so there's taking notes of which ones I have to go back and have a look at and that sort of thing. But some of the times, as soon as I transfer them across, they come up with all these hints available. And so I can go to this list over here of all of the sources that are listed, and then I go to this list over here that says these are all the hints. And then I'm like, okay, let's have a look at this one. Okay, this has got this information on. That's that one there. Does it say exactly the same thing? Is it related to this person? Is it not related to this? Because I've come across some that have got the wrong person's name on there. Like, it's not even the person that they're dealing with. It's got, like, one of them I came across, it was, and I had to contact the tree. I contacted the person who owned the tree, sent them a message saying, hey, I was looking at this information you had on your tree about this particular person here. This is when they were born. This is when they died. You have these sources up there. And when I clicked on this one, it came up with a male's birth certificate that the mother's name does not appear on at all. There is, and it's a completely different person because it's on a female record as the daughter of, didn't even have the right father's name on there either. So I sent a note off and saying, hey, you might want to fix this one. So that's what I've been learning today. Yes, it is verifying some of the stuff that I am already doing, and found some new tips and tricks to help me go and find these people and everything else. So it is totally fun. Can't wait to see what they have tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be another full day. I've got a lot to do. I've got a lot of stuff that needs to get done this weekend. So with that, I am out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch